Success is never written by people who spend their lives waiting for the perfect moment. Every remarkable achievement, every unforgettable journey, and every inspiring life begins with a single decision, the decision to take a risk. The truth is simple. If you avoid every challenge because you're afraid of failure, you also avoid every opportunity to discover what you're truly capable of. Think about the people you admire most. They were not born with extraordinary confidence or guaranteed success. They simply reached a moment where they realized that staying the same was more painful than facing uncertainty. They understood that every meaningful dream requires courage before it rewards you with results. Every meaningful journey begins with a decision that most people are afraid to make. The people who leave a lasting impact on the world are rarely those who chose the safest road. Instead, they are the ones who accepted uncertainty, embraced discomfort, and stepped forward even when success was far from guaranteed. Every great story starts with a moment when someone looked at a challenge and decided that the possibility of growth was more important than the fear of failure. Without that decision, history would be filled with ordinary lives instead of extraordinary achievements. Think about your own life for a moment. The memories that stand out the most are probably not the days when everything was predictable and easy. They are the moments when you took a chance, learned something new, overcame an obstacle, or surprised yourself by doing what you once believed was impossible. Those experiences became memorable because they demanded courage. They forced you to grow beyond the limits you had placed on yourself. That is the nature of every great story. It requires a moment where comfort is exchanged for possibility. Too many people spend their lives waiting for certainty. They tell themselves they will start the business when they have enough money, pursue the dream when they have more confidence, or make the change when the timing feels perfect. But certainty is an illusion. There will always be another reason to wait, another excuse to delay, and another fear to overcome. If you allow perfect conditions to become your requirement, you may spend your entire life preparing without ever beginning. Success belongs to those who are willing to act before every answer is known. Every opportunity carries a degree of risk. Choosing a new career is risky. Starting a business is risky. Moving to a new city is risky. Speaking your ideas in front of others is risky. Even deciding to become a better version of yourself is risky because it demands that you leave behind familiar habits and familiar excuses. Yet these are the very moments that define your future. Growth never comes from standing still. It comes from movement, from action, and from the willingness to face uncertainty with determination. The difference between successful people and everyone else is not that successful people never experience fear. They feel fear just as deeply as anyone else. The difference is that they refuse to let fear make their decisions. They understand that fear is simply a sign that something important is on the other side. Instead of asking, what if I fail? They begin asking, what if I succeed? That single change in perspective opens doors that many people never even attempt to enter. life rewards action. It teaches lessons that books alone cannot provide. You can spend years studying success, reading motivational quotes, and watching inspiring videos, but none of those things will replace the wisdom gained through experience. Experience comes from taking risks. Every challenge teaches patience. Every setback builds resilience. Every mistake sharpens your judgment. Every victory increases your confidence. These lessons cannot be borrowed from someone else's life. They must be earned through your own journey. Failure often appears larger in our imagination than it does in reality. People fear embarrassment, rejection, or disappointment so much that they choose not to try at all. Yet failure is rarely the end of the story. More often, it is the beginning of understanding. Many of the world's greatest achievements were built on countless failures that eventually revealed the right path. Those failures became valuable because they were viewed as education rather than defeat. Imagine looking back on your life many years from now. Which choice would bring greater satisfaction? To know that you attempted something meaningful, even if it was difficult, or to wonder forever what might have happened if you had simply taken the first step. Regret has a way of lasting much longer than temporary failure. The pain of trying eventually fades, but the pain of never trying can remain for a lifetime. Your story is being written every single day. Every decision becomes another sentence. Every challenge becomes another chapter. Every courageous action adds depth, purpose, and meaning to your life. The greatest stories are never about people who avoided every obstacle. They are about individuals who faced uncertainty, accepted the possibility of failure, and kept moving forward because they believed their dreams were worth the risk. That is how ordinary lives become extraordinary, and that is why every great story always begins with a risk. Fear has an incredible ability to convince people that staying where they are is safer than moving toward where they want to be. It whispers that the timing is wrong, that the risks are too great, and that failure will be too painful to recover from. Because of that voice, countless dreams are abandoned before they are even given a chance. Yet, there is something far more dangerous than fear itself, and that is regret. Fear is temporary. It fades the moment you take action. Regret, however, has a way of following you for years, reminding you of the opportunities you allowed to slip away because you hesitated. Every person experiences fear. It does not matter how successful, talented, or experienced they are. The difference between those who build extraordinary lives and those who remain stuck is not the absence of fear. It is their response to it. Successful people understand that fear is often a sign they are standing at the edge of growth. Instead of seeing it as a warning to stop, they see it as an invitation to move forward. They know that everything worthwhile demands a level of courage before it delivers a reward. Imagine standing at the beginning of a new opportunity. Maybe it is launching a business, changing careers, speaking in front of an audience, writing a book, or pursuing a dream that has lived quietly in your heart for years. Your mind immediately begins creating worst-case scenarios. What if people laugh? What if you fail? What if you lose everything? These questions feel powerful because the human brain is designed to protect you from danger. But the same mind that protects you from real danger can also exaggerate imaginary dangers until they seem impossible to overcome. The problem is that fear rarely tells the whole story. It focuses only on what you might lose while ignoring everything you might gain. It highlights temporary discomfort, but hides long-term transformation. If you listen only to fear, your world becomes smaller. You stop exploring, stop learning, stop taking chances, and eventually stop growing. Your life becomes predictable, not because you have found success, but because you have chosen safety over possibility. Regret is different. It arrives quietly, often years later. It appears when you watch someone else achieve the dream you once had. It appears when you realize you had the talent but never used it, the opportunity but never accepted it, or the vision but never acted on it. Regret asks difficult questions that cannot easily be answered. What if I had started? What if I had believed in myself? What if I had taken one small step instead of waiting for perfect conditions? These questions can stay with a person far longer than the fear they once tried so hard to avoid. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that failure defines them. Failure is an event, not an identity. It is simply feedback. Every mistake teaches you something that success cannot. Every rejection strengthens your resilience. Every obstacle improves your judgment. These lessons become valuable only when you refuse to let them become excuses. The people who eventually succeed are often those who have failed the most because they learned something valuable every single time they stood back up. Confidence is not something you receive before taking action. It is something you earn because you took action. Every courageous decision, no matter how small, sends a message to yourself that you are capable of handling challenges. Over time, these small victories build an unshakable belief in your ability to adapt and overcome. Fear begins to lose its power because experience has shown you that you are stronger than your doubts. Think about the moments you admire most in the lives of successful people. Rarely are those moments free from uncertainty. More often, they involve difficult decisions, enormous risks, and countless obstacles. What makes those stories inspiring is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act despite it. Their courage did not eliminate fear. It simply prevented fear from making the decision. Every day presents a choice. You can allow fear to dictate your future, or you can acknowledge its presence and continue moving anyway. One path offers temporary comfort, but often leads to lifelong regret. The other demands courage in the present, but creates opportunities, growth, wisdom, and fulfillment that cannot be achieved any other way. Years from now, people rarely wish they had been more cautious. More often, they wish they had trusted themselves enough to begin sooner. The opportunities you pursue today become the stories you proudly tell tomorrow, while the chances you ignore often become the regrets you quietly carry for the rest of your life. Real growth never happens inside the boundaries of comfort. Comfort gives you security, familiarity, and peace, but it also has a hidden cost. It encourages routine over discovery, certainty over possibility, and convenience over transformation. While there is nothing wrong with enjoying stability, staying in the same place for too long slowly limits your potential. Every new skill, every meaningful achievement, and every personal breakthrough begins the moment you step beyond what feels safe and familiar. Most people believe they need to feel ready before taking a bigger step in life. They wait until they have more knowledge, more confidence, or more experience. But readiness is often created through action, not before it. A person does not become a skilled speaker by waiting until every fear disappears. They become skilled by speaking again and again, learning from mistakes, and improving with every attempt. In the same way, confidence is built through experience. Every challenge you face expands your belief in what you can accomplish. Your comfort zone is predictable. You know what to expect because nothing changes. The conversations remain the same, the routines never evolve, and the opportunities become limited. At first, this feels peaceful. Over time, however, it becomes a prison without visible walls. You stop asking bigger questions. You stop chasing ambitious goals. You settle for what is easy instead of reaching for what is possible. Many people confuse comfort with happiness, but true fulfillment comes from becoming more than you were yesterday. Think about the greatest lessons you have learned in your life. They probably did not come from easy days when everything worked perfectly. They came from moments of uncertainty, disappointment, challenge, and persistence. Difficult experiences have a unique way of revealing strengths that comfortable situations never require. Until life tests your patience, you may never know how resilient you truly are. Until you face rejection, you may never discover your determination. Until you experience failure, you may never develop the wisdom needed for lasting success. Growth demands that you become comfortable with being uncomfortable. That means learning new skills, even when you feel inexperienced. It means accepting criticism without allowing it to destroy your confidence. It means taking responsibility for your decisions instead of blaming circumstances. Every step outside your comfort zone stretches your abilities a little further. At first, the process feels awkward. Then it becomes familiar. Eventually, what once seemed impossible becomes your new normal. Imagine someone learning to swim. Standing safely on the shore feels comfortable, but no one learns to swim without entering the water. The first moments are uncertain. The movements feel unnatural. There is fear of sinking and making mistakes. Yet with practice, confidence replaces fear. The same principle applies to every area of life. Whether you are building a business, developing leadership skills, improving relationships, or pursuing a lifelong dream, progress only begins when you leave the safety of the shoreline. Many people admire successful individuals without recognizing the uncomfortable journey behind their achievements. They see the results, but overlook the sacrifices. They notice the success, but ignore the years of discipline, rejection, and persistence that made it possible. Every successful person has experienced moments when quitting seemed easier than continuing. The difference is that they understood discomfort was temporary, while growth could last a lifetime. There will always be people who question your decisions. Some will tell you your dreams are unrealistic. Others will encourage you to stay where you are because they fear change themselves. If you allow the opinions of others to determine your path, your life will become a reflection of their limitations instead of your own potential. Growth requires independent thinking. It requires believing in your vision, even when others cannot yet see it. One of the greatest rewards of stepping outside your comfort zone is discovering abilities you never knew existed. Every challenge reveals another layer of your character. You become more patient, more disciplined, more adaptable, and more confident. These qualities cannot be purchased or borrowed. They are developed through experience, one difficult decision at a time. Life has a remarkable way of rewarding those who are willing to grow. Every risk you take teaches you something valuable. Every obstacle strengthens your character. Every setback sharpens your judgment. Over time, these experiences combine to create a person who is capable of handling challenges that once seemed overwhelming. The person you become is often more valuable than the achievement you were originally pursuing. Growth is not about becoming fearless. It is about refusing to let fear define your future. It is about understanding that every meaningful opportunity exists beyond the borders of familiarity. The more often you choose progress over comfort, the stronger your character becomes. Every day presents another opportunity to take one small step beyond your limits. And those small steps eventually create extraordinary lives. The greatest version of yourself is not waiting inside your comfort zone. It is waiting just beyond it, where courage, persistence, and continuous growth transform ordinary people into extraordinary ones. Your future is not determined by luck, talent, or perfect timing. It is shaped by the decisions you make when faced with uncertainty. Every opportunity that has the power to transform your life will ask you for something in return. It will ask for courage before confidence, action before certainty, and persistence before reward. The future you dream about is not created by the chances you avoid. It is created by the chances you choose to take. Many people spend years imagining a better life. They picture greater success, stronger relationships, financial freedom, and personal fulfillment. But dreams alone have never changed anyone's reality. Dreams become meaningful only when they inspire action. Every successful person once stood where you are now, looking toward an uncertain future and wondering whether the risk was worth taking. The difference is that they refused to let uncertainty become an excuse for inaction. Life never guarantees outcomes. There is no promise that every business will succeed, every investment will pay off, or every goal will be achieved exactly as planned. But there is one certainty. If you never try, nothing changes. The safest decision often carries the greatest hidden cost because it protects you from temporary failure while also preventing lasting success. Every day you delay an important decision, you are choosing the comfort of today over the possibilities of tomorrow. The people who create extraordinary futures understand that opportunity rarely arrives with complete clarity. It often appears disguised as hard work, difficult choices, and uncomfortable challenges. Others may overlook it because they are searching for certainty instead of possibility. Those who recognize opportunity understand that progress belongs to the person willing to move first, adapt quickly, and learn continuously. Every choice you make is like placing another brick in the foundation of your future. Small decisions may seem insignificant, but they accumulate over time. Choosing to learn instead of wasting time, choosing discipline instead of excuses, choosing courage instead of fear. These daily actions quietly shape the direction of your life. Success is rarely the result of one dramatic moment. More often, it is the outcome of hundreds of small, courageous decisions made consistently over many years. There will always be reasons to postpone your dreams. You may feel too young, too old, too inexperienced, or too uncertain. You may believe that someone else is more talented or more qualified. These thoughts are common, but they are also misleading. Every accomplished person began without knowing everything. They learned by doing. They improved through repetition. They grew because they accepted that progress is more important than perfection. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that opportunity will always return. Sometimes it does, but often it does not. Certain moments in life appear only once. A conversation, a job offer, a business idea, or a chance to meet someone who could change your path may never come again. Those who recognize the value of these moments act while others hesitate. They understand that waiting for the perfect time often means watching the opportunity disappear. Your future self depends on the decisions you make today. Imagine meeting yourself 10 years from now. What kind of person would you become if you consistently chose courage over comfort? What skills would you develop? What relationships would you build? What impact could you make? Now imagine the opposite. What would happen if fear continued making your decisions? The difference between those two futures is determined not by fate, but by the actions you choose every single day. Risk does not always guarantee success, but it always guarantees growth. Even when outcomes fall short of expectations, the experience gained becomes an asset that can never be taken away. You become wiser, stronger, and more prepared for the next opportunity. Every challenge teaches resilience. Every setback strengthens character. Every lesson increases your ability to recognize and seize future opportunities with greater confidence. Successful people are not those who avoid mistakes. They are those who refuse to allow mistakes to define them. They understand that failure is temporary, but giving up makes failure permanent. They continue adjusting, learning, and moving forward because they know that persistence eventually separates those who achieve their goals from those who merely dream about them. Your life is a story that is being written one decision at a time. Every risk you accept adds another meaningful chapter. Every challenge you overcome makes your story more inspiring. Every obstacle you refuse to surrender to becomes proof of your strength. Years from now, people may admire your achievements, but what will truly matter is knowing that you did not allow fear to dictate your destiny. The future belongs to those who are willing to take responsibility for creating it. It belongs to those who refuse to wait for perfect conditions and instead choose to make the most of the opportunities available today. Every meaningful achievement begins with one courageous decision. Every unforgettable story begins with one bold step. And every extraordinary future is built by ordinary people who were willing to take a chance when everyone else chose to stay where it was safe.